It's coffee time, it's coffee time, it's the One Pot Chef drinking coffee in time. And that's still crap. Welcome to Coffee Time, the fortnightly chat show here on the OnePotChefBlog where I answer questions sent in by you. And if you've got a question for the next edition of Coffee Time, simply leave it in the comments section below here on YouTube. Now, before we get started, first I've got a shout out to Charlie on Facebook. See, flattery does get you everywhere. Special announcement, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone for your patience with the delay of this episode of Coffee Time. For those of you who didn't know, I was in Los Angeles for 2.5 weeks filming a series for Tastemade, and obviously sort of couldn't do any filming while I was over there doing Coffee Time or anything. So I had to delay it, and getting back, I had to catch up on a lot of work and all sorts of stuff, so I apologise for the delay. It's been over a month, but here we are. So, back on schedule, back every fortnight, at least hopefully every fortnight, assuming, you know, happiness prevails. So, no more nonsense, let's get into the questions. So, first question comes from Bruce2256, and he asks, have you ever been noticed in public, and do you still live on the coast? Yep, I still live on the Central Coast. Have you ever been noticed in public? I do occasionally get noticed. It's usually by people, like, at the supermarket, oddly enough. I don't know why. I always get sort of noticed when I'm sort of fondling onions or something, and they go, are you the One Pot Chef? And I go, yeah. So I don't know how to handle it. It's really strange, because I'm not used to people recognising me, and I don't consider myself to be famous or a celebrity or anything like that, simply because I just don't think I am. Like, I'm just a guy who makes videos on the internet. But so yeah, I get thrown when people actually recognise me, and it's kind of, yeah, I get awkward. So I apologise if you ever meet me in public and just go, oh, you're the One Pot Chef, and I'm there going, ha, isn't it nice the sun today? Like, it's not me being rude or demented, it's just I literally have no idea what to say. So, like, yeah. Jai White asks, do you like Cornish pasties, and is there a chance you might make them, as I'd love to learn? Cornish pasties are a funny one, because I can think of at least 1,000 different recipes that are all apparently Cornish pasties, despite the fact they're all completely different. As far as I understand, the traditional, inverted commas, traditional Cornish pasty is doesn't have meat. It's a vegetable thing, so it's got potatoes and onion and peas and carrot and all that sort of stuff in. And I actually did a vegetable pasty on my cooking channel about a year or so ago, and it was really, really yummy. I didn't make it from scratch because, like, it's one of those ones where I just wanted to do it quickly, so I just used puff pastry. I probably should do one where I'm actually making the pastry from scratch, but I'm one of those people who sort of rarely makes pastry from scratch simply because I just find it annoying. Like, I would rather just open a packet and use it. I know that's really lazy, but a pastry is one of those things where I'll either get it really, really good or it will be really, really shit. I don't know why. It's one of those flippers on me. Oh, another question from Jai. Do you like AFL? If so, who is your favourite team? I don't follow AFL, to be honest, but I am blood-oathed to say Hawthorn, because that is Nico's team, and if I was to say any other team, I think he would have a heart attack and die shortly after having come around and beaten the hell out of me for not saying Hawthorn. So Hawthorn for the win, even though their uniform makes them look like diarrhea. I'm going to run. He's going to kill me for that. Oh, here we go. Nico, killing 4B flowers. I heard Nico taught Gordon Ramsay how to cook. Can you confirm that? Probably gave him his attitude. Jesse Myers. American shops seem to be jumping on the Australian licorice thing. Have you ever had licorice from another country? How do you find it compared to Australian variety? I'm not really big on licorice, to be honest. I don't like it. I did try a licorice chocolate from, I believe, Finland. That was interesting. And somebody recently sent me a packet of something called Yate salt, I think that's how it's pronounced, which is like little licorice balls that are made of salt. And I had one in my mouth for about 2 seconds and could not literally handle it anymore. It was killing my taste buds. It was so awful. It was in one of my, I think it was the Swedish taste test video I did recently. It was in that, and yeah, I can still taste it. Like weeks after recording that video, I can still taste it. Okay, as a productions MI, these questions are assuming you film your next coffee time after your trip to LA. Good assumption. First one, what did you think of the Cheesecake Factory? I loved the Cheesecake Factory. This will be a long story. The place that I was staying at a place called Marina del Rey at these short-term apartments. And directly across the road at the bay was this restaurant called the Cheesecake Factory. Now, I actually heard the name, but didn't know anything about this place. I knew, I think I'd heard of it from the Big Bang Theory. They had the Cheesecake Factory on there and they mention it, but I didn't really know much about it. But I did know that Nico, when he was in LA recently, absolutely loved it and recommended that I go there. So I thought, oh, I'll go there. First night I went there was about, I think it was maybe the day I arrived, and I was massively jet lagged and didn't really feel like eating a lot. So I thought, I'll just get like a little plate of pasta or something. That'll do. I don't need to have a huge, gigantic banquet. Oh, I had no idea. I think it was like chicken Alfredo or chicken carbonara or something like that with some fettuccine. And I thought, that's probably not going to be a big portion because, like, I'm used to Australian restaurants. They brought this surfboard-sized bloody plate out with what could have been about a kilogram, maybe 2 pounds of pasta on it. Enormous. And I'm looking at it and I'm there sort of going, holy crap on a stick, look at the size of this. And the waiter has actually turned around and said, oh, did you want the bigger one? And I'm there going, bigger one? Are you insane? This is enormous. And so, like, yeah, I ended up eating maybe a quarter of it. It was so huge. And they ended up packing up the rest of it and letting me take it back with me, which doesn't really happen in Australia. So it's an unusual concept from an Australian perspective, but it really is a brilliant idea, especially when they're serving such enormous portions. But I ended up going to the Cheesecake Factory maybe once every couple of days or so, mainly for convenience, because the place that I was staying at, while it had a kitchen, it was very small and there was very little counter space and very little room to put anything, so I didn't really have the option to cook at home while I was staying there. And to be honest, with the filming days, they were very, very long days, I was very tired and very sore afterwards, I didn't really want to stand there and cook a meal. I thought, sod it, I can walk across the road and have somebody cook for me, so that works for me. And the Cheesecake Factory was very, very reasonably priced. I mean, their mains were like anywhere between $12 and $15, which like is dirt cheap compared to like Australian restaurants. So I was stoked at that. If you were following me on my Twitter or my Instagram, you would have seen the photos that I was posting of various things that I tried. Because the one thing I liked about the Cheesecake Factory, it was like a macrocosm of US food. Everything, all sorts of different food influences from across the United States, they have under one roof. And it was so cool to try all these different things that I'd never tried before. One of my favourite things was these avocado egg rolls that they have as an appetizer. They were so addictive, and it came with this little coriander cilantro sauce that was absolutely gorgeous. And I ended up ordering that 3 or 4 times during my stay in LA. It was so, so yummy. Their burgers were enormous, and they had all sorts of different things, but they're cheesecakes. They had like 30 or 40 different types of cheesecake, and I really, really delighted in trying sort of to go through the menu and try as many as possible. I actually found myself ordering dessert, even though I didn't really feel like dessert, just so I could try it and maybe take it home with me if I didn't want to finish it, because I wanted to try as many as possible. The banana cream pie cheesecake was simply sublime. There was a, what was there? There was a Reese's peanut butter cup cheesecake, which was so over the top. The Hershey's chocolate bar one was just pure sex on a plate. There was so much chocolate in that. I actually physically couldn't finish that. It was too much for me. What else was there? There was a tiramisu one as well. There was so many different varieties, and I think they've got a website, so if you ever want to have a look at the menu, go to, I think it's cheesecakefactory.com or something like that. Look it up on Google. And they've got their menu on there, and some of the stuff they had on there was just extraordinary. Okay, so enough about the Cheesecake Factory. I had a good time there. It was fun. What was the next question from... Okay, what is your craziest experience while in LA? Probably the hire car. Oh, God, that was such a nightmare. The first day I got there, as I say, it was like a 15-hour flight from Sydney, but I'd been travelling for like 3 or 4 hours before that as well, plus waiting time at the airport and getting to the thing. So, like, I hadn't slept in probably about 30 hours or something. I couldn't get any sleep on the plane. So I think I left my house in Australia at about, oh, goodness, it would have been about maybe 9 o'clock in the morning, and I arrived in LA at about 9 o'clock the same morning with the time zone differences. So technically, I'd lost a day and hadn't gained any time. I'd gone backwards in time. It was very strange. But I arrived in LA and got a taxi from the airport to Marina Del Rey, where I was staying, and I was absolutely zonked out. So I ended up just going to my room. I think I was awake for about 20 minutes as I sort of unpacked stuff, and then I just crashed on the bed. Next thing I knew, it was like 6:30 at night. I ended up going over and having some dinner, and then crashed out again. And the next day, I thought I'll better go and grab the hire car, because they delivered it to the place I was staying, and sort of have a go at driving, because I was really nervous about that. And I went to the front desk of the apartment place and to get the keys for the car. And they gave me the keys, and they gave me this bit of paper about sort of car rental. And it was really non-specific. It said something like, white car. And I'm there going, well, that narrows it down, thank you very much. So I went over to this car park, and there's like 1,000 million cars, and I'm there sort of going, oh great, there's no number plate on here, I'm never going to find this. And I thought, I've got the remote. I'll just keep pressing the remote until something lights up. And I pressed it, and the first car that I saw lit up, and I nearly died. It was a Chevy Suburban. If you've never seen this, it's enormous. It's like a tank. Like, I literally thought I was going to need a step ladder to get into the thing, and I'm 6'6", and I was like, oh my God. So, like, I thought, okay, maybe it's not as big as it looks. Maybe I'm just sort of jet-lagged and whatever, and so I got into the car. It was huge. Like, it was so big, and there was like 1,000 buttons on the dashboard for, like, I don't know what, controlling the weather, like, who the hell knows. It was huge. But I thought, I've got to give this a go, and so I gently drove it out of the space. It was bigger than the space. There was no way to park next to it. But this thing was bigger than most of the lanes on the road. So, like, I was really trying to be careful driving this thing, and I was driving fairly slowly, and I managed to go down about a half a mile down the road to the supermarket, where I needed to grab a few odds and sods, because the place I was staying at didn't supply anything. So I thought, oh, okay, I better go and grab some bits. And I managed to go down there and come back, and I was just like, I can't drive this. It's too big. It's terrifying to drive. I've never even seen a car this big, let alone driven one. So I had to get them to change over this bloody thing. They ended up giving me a Dodge Charger, which admittedly isn't like sort of a huge car, but it was a massive, powerful thing. Like, it was a really powerful car, but it was fun to drive, and I really enjoyed driving that little black Dodge. It was so much fun. Yeah, so that was a lot easier to drive, and I had a great time with that. But that was probably my weirdest experience when I saw that car for the first time, and I'm just there going, when you go back to LA in the future to film more Tastemade videos, what do you want to do that you weren't able to do this time? Good question. I would probably actually say I would like to actually see more of LA, because my schedule was fairly tight while I was over there. I was only there for about just over 2 weeks, and I had a lot of days filming, but I had little bits of time off between each filming day. But the problem was that I'm not used to sort of doing like sort of 9, 10, 11 hours of filming in a day. And so the next day my back was killing me, I was tired, and I still had residual jet lag, and like I would get up and I just didn't feel like going anywhere terribly fascinating. I didn't sort of want to go anywhere and do the touristy things because I was just too tired and sore. So I ended up just doing a bit of driving around, but didn't actually do anything really. I did go out to this massive Westfield shopping mall at Culver City, which was enormous. And I thought, sort of like, wandering around the shops, that's not too active. This place was enormous. It took me, like, I don't know, an hour to get from one side to the other. It was huge. But I did go to a place called Five Guys Burgers and Fries while I was there, and had the best hamburger I've ever eaten in my life. I swear to God, they need to open Five Guys in Australia. It was so, so good. Could have done without the yelling at everything, but, like, it was fun. Really, really enjoyed that. So yeah, so next trip to LA, I would probably like to at least have a bit more time to sort of recuperate between sort of filming days, and sort of like, I think sort of I did well all in all, but I think sort of like if I was going over to LA, I'd probably want to be there for more than 2 weeks. I'd probably want to go over there for at least a month, and that way I've got sort of time to go and do the filming and all that stuff, and then I've got time just to do things for myself and go like do the touristy thing and see the Hollywood sign and, I don't know, the Star Trek Museum. I don't know, whatever. Star Trek Museum? Whatever. What do you think of Hostess going bankrupt? That's the brand that Twinkies and other cakes you've tried on the taste test makes. I heard about it a couple of months ago because there was a lot of memes about it. But yeah, it is a little surprising because Twinkie is such a iconic brand and an iconic item that you wouldn't expect something like that to go bust. But then again, from what I've heard, a lot of people just didn't like them that much. Like, they're all right for kids, but most people just generally didn't like them. And if they don't have a broad brand appeal that more than just sort of one person, like one type of person is going to like, if it's only small children that eat them, that's a whole lot of people that don't eat them. And so, like, that's got to be bad for business. So maybe sort of that will be a cautionary tale to other snack cake people. Let's see. Alicia Lynn Fleur? I hope I said that right. Will you ever do any videos with your dad or your sisters? I think it would be interesting to watch. Will you ever do any videos where you do your shopping or eat out in a restaurant? Lastly, please, if you could do a recipe for mincemeat pie, can you share it? Thank you. Thanks, and have a wonderful time in LA. Be sure to try at least one food truck lunch. Oh, okay. Okay, let's start again. So, would I do videos with my dad or my sisters? Probably not, because they're not particularly... like, they're all very camera shy. My dad, I've only ever caught maybe twice on camera on the blog channel, and it was just literally because I caught him unawares. One of my sisters is so camera shy that she would either smash the camera or run screaming from the room, possibly both. And the other, yeah, I don't know if she has any particular interest in doing what I do, so probably wouldn't happen. Will you ever do videos where you do your shopping or eat out in a restaurant? I did do a blog video about me going around shopping at the local supermarket, but it's very difficult to do those kind of videos, especially in New South Wales, because there are actually legal issues with filming in public places. They've got laws where you're not allowed to film... Shut up, bloody motorcycles. Shut up! Yeah, you're not allowed to film in public places in New South Wales without sort of permission from the council or the owners of the building that you're in or whatever, and it's just a lot of hassle, so it probably won't happen. Can you please do a recipe for mincemeat pie? Yep, if you go to Aussie Meat Pie on my cooking channel, that's a beautiful recipe. It's very traditional Australian meat pie. It's really, really yummy. So yeah, Miss Loud Laugh. What is in the cupboard behind you? Please let us look. I'm so curious. Always look forward to your coffee time. Love it. How funny is that the cupboard's now gone now you've asked that question? It's actually over here now. There's really nothing of major interest in it. It's basically just a few shirts and some boxes of stuff that we haven't been able to fit anywhere else since we moved house about a year or so ago. I know that's really lazy, but yeah, there's nothing terribly fascinating. And occasionally, when I've got things that people have sent me for taste test videos, I'll usually keep them in the bottom of the cupboard because it keeps them cool while they're in there. But yeah, there's really nothing to see in there. Fly Lady 13. How tall are you, and what's the scariest thing that has ever happened to you? I'm 6'6", which is 100 and flimby centimetres in old money. I have no idea what it is. Scariest thing that's ever happened to me? I don't know. Probably recently, when I had a car accident probably about 2 years ago, where I was driving alone and I was going through a roundabout and it had been raining and there was a lot of oil on the road, but you couldn't see it because of the water. And I ended up skidding and crashing directly into a metal barrier on the side of the road. And that was absolutely terrifying once I realised, oh God, I've lost control of the car and I'm braking and I'm still moving and sliding down the road and bang. Yeah, that was pretty scary. That's probably the only thing recently that's sort of genuinely frightened me, except for maybe when the cat pounces on my head in the middle of the night. That scares the shit out of me. Maggie12310. Hello, Maggie. Would you ever consider moving to LA now you'll be filming there a lot? I don't know if I'll be filming there a lot. I've recorded the first series of this series that I'm not allowed to actually say anything about yet. I'm having to be very careful and not give away information here. But I'm not allowed to say anything about this specific series, but I filmed one series of videos over there at the moment, and assuming how that goes, or depending on how that goes, I might possibly be coming over to LA to do more videos in the future. But would I consider moving there? I'm not really sure, because like I'm pretty sort of, I've got roots here in Australia, I've got family and I've got responsibilities and things like that, and I don't know if I could just pick up and move over there. It wouldn't be easy. But that being said, those sort of things aside, I would actually probably enjoy living over there, because it is a very, very interesting place to live. There's a lot of, it would take a bit of an adaptation, because I'm not used to living in a place where there's like 5 or 6 million people in such a small area. Where I live, there's only like maybe 100,000 people, so that's a huge culture shock in itself. But the positives definitely outweigh any negatives. There's a lot of stuff there, and LA really is becoming the central hub for new media and YouTube creation, video creation and stuff like that. So it's something I would definitely consider. Baron Betty, have you ever tried a Cadbury's Curly Whirly bar or a Yorkie bar? I tried a Curly Whirly. We used to get them in Australia. I think we still do, actually. I don't know. I haven't seen them. They're like a kids type thing. Curly Whirly bar, I had them when I was a kid. I can't say I've had one probably in the last 20 years. Maybe I should go out and try one. And a Yorkie bar, I think somebody actually sent me one, or I got one from the International Chocolate Shop ages ago. It was the big thick one, wasn't it? Yeah, I think I've tried them. Yeah, I think I have. I'm not really sure about the Yorkie. I think I have. It sounds familiar. The name sounds familiar. Refood, I think you'd like samosas. Have you ever tried them? They're a South Asian treat filled with some spices, peas, potatoes, and a triangular crispy pastry. Yes, I've tried samosas. You get them quite commonly here. I tried some chicken samosas, oddly enough, at the Cheesecake Factory when I was in LA. And they were actually really, really yummy. And they've got sort of a little bit of spice to them. And then they had this beautiful, cool dipping sauce to go with it. Really, really yummy. Emu Unlim, have you ever... Oh, sorry. What was the most shocking thing you have ever seen on TV? Please explain why. A shocking thing. Probably watching the 9/11 attacks as they were happening. It was like, I think it was like 11 o'clock at night here, and I was actually getting ready to go to bed, and I'd put the late news on, and they were sort of showing breaking news that a plane had crashed into one of the buildings of the World Trade Center, and it was literally just sort of like, this has just happened. And I don't think anyone had thought anything more of it. It was just sort of like, oh, a plane has accidentally hit this building. And literally, as they were showing the live pictures, that's when the second plane hit the other tower, and it was just like, holy crap. And even the news reader was just there going, like, this is a woman who's never lost words, and she was just like, absolutely didn't know what to say, and she was there sort of like scrambling, going, what do I say, what do I say, oh my God. And yeah, it was very, very shocking to watch that, and I remember sitting up most of the night watching the coverage of that, just sort of going, I can't believe this is happening. So that would probably be it. Ninja Do 1021. Can you say this in your best American accent? Oh, God. I've got a story about this. All right, I'll try it. I'll do this and I'll tell you my story. Okay. Hello, everyone. This is the Americanized one-pot chef. Whatever I cook with my sexy red whisk of death will be your heart's desire. I love all of my fans as you help me become what I am today, and damn you Ninja Do 1021 for making me attempt to say this all in an American accent. No! Alright, I'm going to tell you a story. While I was in LA, I had to go, obviously, to the Tastemade Studios to do some filming. And one morning, I went there a little early because the traffic, I didn't anticipate it to be as light as it was. So I got there like half an hour earlier than I intended to. And there's this little cafe outside. And I thought, oh, I'll go in and get a cup of coffee before I go into the studio. And I thought, well, as I was waiting in the queue, I thought, this would be the perfect opportunity to try out my American accent, to see if I'm accepted as a local. It would be fun to see if they actually just didn't think anything of it. And so I went up to the counter when it got to my turn, and in my proudest, most brilliant American accent, I ordered my coffee and all this stuff. And the woman behind the counter thought I was mentally retarded. She even went to the point of asking me if I had a carer and did I want her to call them for me. I was just so devastated because I was like going, my accent doesn't make me sound retarded, it's not fair. But then at that point, you've already crossed the line where either you have to commit to something here. So either you have to come clean and go, oh, actually, I'm not either retarded or American. I was just trying out my accent to see if I'd be accepted as a local, which would obviously make me look like a complete loony, or I could just commit to it and just have to keep going. And so I just had to keep going and said, no, I want my coffee, please. Can you do me a good deal on my car insurance? I don't know. My accent is obviously really bad, but I always thought it was good. It still makes me laugh when I think how proud I was of my accent until that moment. And she's just looked at me and she's just gone, I beg your pardon? Oh dear. Okay, next question. Tony the Night Owl. You have such a wonderful speaking voice and diction. Oh, thank you. Have you ever considered auditioning for voiceovers or lending your voice to commercials or possible acting? I think you would be a natural at it. Never. Never really thought about it. I've had a lot of people say you should do voice acting or you should do this or you should do that, but I've never really thought about it simply because I don't really see the appeal of my voice. I actually, maybe it's because I don't hear it the same as everyone else, but I find my voice kind of grating and annoying, but some people like it, so I don't know. I know it's not coffee, but it's 33 degrees and it's incredibly humid today. It's why I'm all red in the face, so I apologise for not having coffee. I need my water today. Yeah, so I've never really done, ever considered doing voice acting or anything like that, so maybe I should look into it. I don't know. Emily Trandest. What suburb in Sydney do you live in? I don't actually live in Sydney. I live just north of Sydney on the Central Coast. I live up near Gosford. Spazamaza. Have you ever worn makeup? Can you use chopsticks? What is your favourite sauce to use in dishes? Have I ever worn makeup? Yes. Oh, God. I think I wore a little bit of foundation and some lipstick when I went to... Oh, God, this is embarrassing. When I went to a school disco and the theme was you had to come as a movie character, and I don't even know why. It made sense at the time. And I went as Mrs. Doubtfire. And, oh, God, yeah, I'd forgotten about that. So, yeah, I had to wear makeup for that, but not a lot. I used, a little bit of powder foundation and lipstick, and to be honest, I looked like me in a skirt. It just looked ridiculous. Block a roach would look better. Can you use chopsticks? No. I've tried, God knows I've tried, but I'm just not coordinated enough. I find myself stabbing dim sims with them and going, yep, that's close enough. Yeah, I can't do it. I think it's one of those things where you really have to practice at it, and I don't get sort of Asian food enough to get enough regular practice at it. So maybe it's just me. What is your favourite sauce to use in dishes? Interesting question. I don't know. I find myself splashing Worcestershire sauce in bloody everything these days. It's sort of my all-purpose sort of savoury seasoning. I don't know. I suppose that answers the question. I'm not really sure. I find myself using, yeah, Worcestershire sauce in a lot of stuff, particularly in beefy and sort of casserole type dishes, because it really sort of, I don't even know what it is. It doesn't taste right without it. It adds that sort of extra bit of sort of richness to a dish. And I love to put it in spaghetti sauce because it seems to enhance the flavour of the tomatoes and just adds that sort of oomph to it that I can't really describe. Killing 4B flowers. Do you think Nico's wife may be feeling a bit left out when he has an orgasm over food? Something tells me I think she's not missing out too much. Do you like sushi? No. Like, I wouldn't say no. It's not my first choice. I've eaten it, and it's okay, some of it. I can't say I eat it on a regular basis, and if I was given the option of like 3 things and one of them was sushi, sushi probably wouldn't be the first choice. But, yeah, I don't know, it's just something that I'm just not that keen on. Maybe it's just sort of, I don't know, miniature sort of food just with little rolls and things. I don't know, it just doesn't seem sort of filling to me, maybe. I don't know. And I can't say sort of it really appeals. So, yeah, personal tastes. The Miss Peter. When you started out, did you find it awkward talking about your YouTube channel to people in your day-to-day life? I want to dive into YouTube videos more, but I never link to my Facebook because my work colleagues and friends are there. Were you ever self-conscious of your videos? Not really, no. I was never really self-conscious about it because when I first started on the cooking channel, I was actually making those videos for people that I knew, just sort of send them to them as on an email link or whatever. It was never anything that I sort of hid or sort of, it wasn't like a secret double life type thing. But then again, I think you'll find that these days, making videos on YouTube isn't that sort of, it's not that so much of an unusual thing. And most people will actually go, oh my God, you make videos on YouTube, that's so cool. Unless you're doing something like oddly controversial, I don't think your friends and work colleagues are going to have that much of an issue with it. I would be careful with work people simply because if you end up filming videos at work or something like that and you don't have permission, it could actually possibly get you sacked. But then again, I don't know. I would probably, if you're like just starting out, I would probably maybe not share it with the work colleagues, maybe just the friends and family and dump it on your Facebook or whatever. But yeah, maybe not sort of reveal it with the work people initially until you know what their social media policy is and stuff like that, because the number of places where if they disagree with something that you say in a video, that can be grounds to sack you, which is weird. I don't know. So I would sort of look into it and just use your best judgment. Oh, another one from you. I recently read on one of your vids that you're originally from Manly. Do you follow the NRL? If so, do you like the Sea Eagles? If so, go team. I don't really follow any sports. It's like the AFL. I don't follow them. Don't follow the NRL either. I did sort of briefly follow the Sea Eagles when I lived down in Manly, mainly because if you said you followed any other team, it usually got the shit kicked out of you for it. That being said, I really don't have that much interest in the football type things. It's just sort of meh. So yeah, I'll say go Eagles just for the sake of nostalgia, I suppose. But to be honest, I don't really follow any of them. Dingo's Recipes. Hello, Dingo. Back in the early days of the One Pot Chef, how did you keep yourself motivated to make videos? Is it better to specialise in one type of cooking or to have a variety of recipes? Okay, well, how do you keep yourself motivated? Basically, you've got to enjoy what you're doing. If you're doing it simply because you feel an obligation to do it, or because you think it's going to somehow make you, like, I don't know, multi-millionaire, famous person in the future, probably going to be difficult to motivate yourself to do it because you never just instantly get that huge success when you first start. If, however, you're doing it because you have a genuine passion for what you're doing, if you love the food that you're cooking, I just got an email. If you really, really love just sharing that stuff with people, then you will find the motivation. It's just a matter of getting into a routine of setting aside a certain amount of time each week for you to film videos and edit and stuff like that, and having those videos upload on a regular basis. And you just find yourself, once you've got into a routine, you'll find yourself motivated because you go, oh, it's Thursday, I've got to film video today. And that will help to bring the motivation on. As for specialising, it's a bit of a trap, because if you sort of specialise in one particular thing and you narrow your options too much, if you get bored with that thing, you're kind of screwed. But also you limit your appeal in a category that already has limited appeal, so you're actually becoming sort of like more and more specific, which is really bad. So like cooking channels only have a certain amount of appeal to the audience. Like only certain people are going to go, yay, a cooking channel. Other people are going to go, no, I want to watch comedy, or I want to watch this. But if you're then in a subset of a cooking channel genre, like, I don't know, vegetarian desserts that are sodium-free, like, there's only maybe 1 or 2 people in the whole world that are going to want to watch something that specific all the time. So sometimes it's better to keep your options open. And so, like, if you have a particular interest in food, like one particular type of cooking or a type of recipe, then definitely do that. But you definitely don't paint yourself into a corner and say, this is only the thing I'm going to cook, I'm not doing any other type of cooking. Definitely don't do that. Leave your options open so you've got the option to do other types of things as well. So that would be my advice. Dambo12, hello. A couple of questions. What are your thoughts about this idea? You and Nico challenge each other to cook a certain recipe that you found and film your attempts. Also, do you like chocolate raisins? I do like chocolate raisins. I usually have them at Christmas. Regarding the Nico One Pot Chef Challenge thing, we actually did that ages ago, although admittedly it wasn't a challenge as such, it was more of just a collaboration type thing. And this was it was a bit of a mixed bag. Like, it was an interesting idea at the time, but because we live so far away from each other, we're on opposite sides of the continent, we didn't really have the option to film together in the same place. So I would film stuff in my kitchen, he would film stuff in his kitchen, and we would sort of swap footage and put it together and make one video. And it didn't really work. It didn't gel. It was disjointed, and I can't remember, it was about barbecue. I think it was like Aussie barbecue or something like that, different stuff you would have at an Aussie barbecue. And it's sort of meh, like it worked and it didn't work, and it was sort of, yeah, it just didn't work. That being said, we don't really have that sort of competitive nature between the two of us. I mean, when we met up in Perth, what, 3 or 4 months ago, we sort of said, oh, we have to do some videos together, we have to do some videos together. And we ended up just doing these incredibly fun videos using sort of like the blender. I think we made like a mocha frappe, and I can't remember what the other thing was. Something with chocolate and peanut butter, I can't remember. But it was just basically silly blender drinks, really. And that was the most fun afternoon I've had in a long time, because we were just absolutely cracking up, laughing at each other and talking crap, and it was just fun, and we just didn't feel the need to do any kind of competitive type thing. It was just sort of like a bit of fun, and I think that I would love to do more of that. And if I had the option, I would love to fly back over to Perth and do some more filming in Rob's kitchen, because it was just so much fun to work with him. He was such a cracker. Good boy. Noobs fan sub. Pouvez-vous dire une phrase en français? I hope I pronounced that right. My French is incredibly rusty. Plus lentement is probably the closest I've got at the moment. And voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir? Because it's obligatory. Yeah, so... next question. 4750548. David, first off, sorry for the long username. I think I ran my hand across the keyboard for my YouTube username. Just call me Andrew. Okay, hello, Andrew. What is your best snack food to eat when you have the midnight munchies? And will you make anything for people like my dad, who is diabetic, I'd love to treat him to something next time I visit him for dinner. Okay, best snack food to eat when I get the midnight munchies. I must admit, I very rarely do anything terribly elaborate for just like a craving when I'm hungry at night. I usually just go for a sandwich, and I've usually got a ton of stuff in the fridge to make sandwiches. I always have cold meat and cheese and bits and pieces and stuff just to make a sandwich, and I love having a sandwich at night. I don't know why. It's one of those it's like having a hot shower. It's one of those luxury things that doesn't cost a lot, and it just makes you feel nice, and I love having a nice, well put together sandwich. Nothing like a bit of fresh ham and cheese and lettuce and tomato and a bit of sweet mustard pickles. I haven't had lunch today, so that's why I'm hungry. I'm talking about food. What was the other question? Diabetic stuff. I have absolutely zero experience with diabetic cuisine. I literally don't know anything about it. I don't know what diabetics can and cannot eat, or what proportions, or what they can have with other things, so I don't know. I must admit, I try to avoid doing anything terribly specific like that, and like gluten stuff as well, because there's so many people who've got gluten intolerance. My sister recently discovered that she's gluten intolerant, and I find it incredibly difficult to do videos based on that, because I don't necessarily know enough about the condition and what people with the conditions can actually have and what they can't have. And I don't want to be making a video saying, this you can have, when I don't know that for a fact. I don't know it to a medical certainty, and I don't want to be putting people in danger of having some kind of a reaction based on advice that I've given, because I'm not a doctor, I don't know that sort of thing, so I try to avoid doing that kind of stuff. That being said, there are lots of diabetic websites out there. I think there's, I can't remember, I think it's called diabeticworld.com, I think. I may get that wrong. That has a huge recipe section of diabetic-friendly recipes. So it might be worth doing a bit of research for yourself and having a look to see what you can make for your dad for next time you visit him for dinner. Because I reckon if you do a bit of research, you would love it. But as I say, I just don't feel comfortable doing it on my channel, simply because I don't want to be held responsible for making a mistake about something like that, when obviously somebody's life is in danger there. I don't want to actually risk somebody's life. So, yeah. Naruto Uzumaki, or Naruto Uzumaki, I apologise. Do you like anime? If so, which ones? I don't really watch anime. I don't watch Japanese animation stuff. I don't really... Yeah, I don't know anything about them, to be honest. Maybe... I did watch Astro Boy in the 80s, which I think was Japanese type thing, so that's probably about it. I can't say I watch a lot of them. Spazamaz, could you please be ever so kind and make a video on how to make vanilla slice? They are my favourite, and I would love to see you make one. Okay, I'll add it to my to-do list. I'm not sure when it will come out, but I'll see what I can do. I haven't had a vanilla slice for years. Oh, I really do have to make that, because I haven't had one for ages. Yum yum. We Folder Josh, pardon me. I'm a 26-year-old guy who has just started adult ballet lessons. What are your thoughts on that? If you like it, do it. I don't see that as being a problem. I think that's fantastic. I mean, there are plenty of young men who do ballet, and look at Baryshnikov and a whole bunch of the other sort of popular male ballet dancers. They really sort of dedicate themselves to that art form, and I think that's great. And the idea that sort of ballet is for girls, or it's an incredibly physically demanding thing to do, and so anyone who sort of makes fun of you for doing ballet obviously is very ignorant and doesn't know the physical requirements of what you have to go through to do that. So, yeah, just kick the shit out of them. If you enjoy it, then dance. That's all I can say. Laura Mailhot. Do you have coffee milk in Australia, and what advice can you give to someone starting a YouTube channel? Coffee milk. Do you mean coffee flavoured milk, or do you mean that goo in a can that's coffee and milk mixed together with sugar and you just add boiling water, it makes into coffee? Either way, both. We have both. What advice can you give to someone just starting a YouTube channel? Best advice I can give is be part of the community. Respond to comments. Leave comments on other people's videos. Ask questions. Make relationships. Get involved with other people on YouTube. It is a great place to make friends, and you make alliances, and it really can help you out. But above all else, just enjoy it, because if you're just starting a YouTube channel, just have fun with it. Don't sort of panic yourself into thinking that it's all going to be has to be serious and complex and everything like that. Just make videos that make you happy, and that's the best thing you can do. Water. It's not getting any cooler in here. God, this is going to be a long episode today, isn't it? Emily Trandest? Emily Trandest. Please answer my questions. I'll certainly try. Number 1, how much sugar do you put in your coffee? It depends on the type of coffee I'm having, to be honest. If it's a really strong one, I'll probably put a bit more in, but on average, I usually put 2 sugars in and a bit of milk. What's your favourite food? Oh, I have no idea. Honestly, I get asked this all the time, and my favourite food changes from week to week. I'm going through a creamy fettuccine thing at the moment, so I'm loving that. But, again, it all changes from week to week. 3, what type of car do you have? If not, what is your dream car? I drive a Mitsubishi Magna. It's about, I don't know, must be 10 years old or something by now, and she's a stubborn old bitch, but yeah, it gets me there eventually. She's a troublesome little animal, but I love that car, I really do. It's just it's sort of like me. It's reliable only to a point, and then, yeah, it's very good at frustrating you, but in a very fun way. JR Sims fan, why do adults drink coffee at night? Do you drink coffee at night? I have no idea why people drink coffee at night. It's so insane, because it's like caffeinating yourself up, getting close to bedtime is just crazy. I don't drink coffee at night. I actually don't drink anywhere near as much coffee as I used to, which is funny because I run a thing called Coffee Time. But yeah, when I do, I try to avoid drinking it at night because it does keep me awake. Yeah, I generally have coffee in the morning and get my heart started. Silverbolt95, how old are you? I will answer that question the way my mother used to answer that question, and she says that she's as old as her nose and a little bit older than her teeth. I'm 21. Next question, Zaki1 and 2. What is your favourite movie from your childhood? Mine would be Willy Wonka. And P.S. again, I got my eyes checked, needed glasses, and you're still a sexy individual. And P.P.S. have you ever met your subscribers in real life? I can't get enough people calling me sexy. It's yeah. What was the question again? I have no idea. What is your favourite movie from childhood? God, I don't know. Probably like The Wizard of Oz or something, maybe? I used to watch that as a child. How stereotypical is that? I don't know. And I can't really think. I don't know. I remember there was a movie called Flight of the Navigator I used to watch as a child. That's so 80s, my God. Does anyone remember Flight of the Navigator? Oh, and have you ever met any subscribers in real life? Yeah, occasionally they pop up at the supermarket, or I've met them at YouTube gatherings and had photos taken and stuff like that. So, yeah, but other than that, yeah, sort of don't really see them that often. Although I've got a lot of them sending me sort of photographs of themselves in various stages of undress on Snapchat, which is a little bizarre. Although I must admit, I really am enjoying that Snapchat thing. If you haven't got that Snapchat app, you need to go and check it out because it's actually quite fun. I'd like get these random videos and pictures of people just sort of showing off bits of their life. Sort of like there was this one person sending me pictures of them down at the pub, and another guy sending me a picture of him doing a arm wrestling contest. It was very unusual, but yeah, if you want to follow me on Snapchat, my username is just OnePotChef, OnePotChef, ONEPOTCHEF. Yeah, I just discovered it. I kept having people saying, "Oh, you've got to go and grab this Snapchat thing," and I did, and I really quite enjoy it. It's quite fun. I send out pictures of the cat and things that I'm cooking occasionally to everyone on my list. So if you want to get random gibberish from me, feel free to send me a picture and I'll add you onto my list. Mr. Butterworth 24. David, are you hearing a lot about this Manti Teo incident in Australia? I have no idea what that is. Sorry, I don't know what Manti Teo is. I don't know who he or that is. Sorry, no idea. Silverbolt 95. Also, do you have any plans on coming back to the US? Nothing specific at this point, but I definitely would love to go back there. It would be a lot of fun. Mr. Ben Pratt. Hello, hello. Dear David, I'm a huge fan of your fantastic channel. My question is, do you play a musical instrument, or did you at school? Also, can you please shoot a video of you at the hairdresser's or barber getting your hair cut? Congratulations on your subscribers, mate. You are a true Aussie inspiration, wonderful YouTube celebrity personality with real presence. Oh, thank you. I couldn't cook for shit before, now I found your how-to videos. Oh, excellent. I'm not quite sure you want to see me getting a haircut or at the barber's because, yeah, I don't understand why you'd want to see that. I must admit I very rarely go to hairdressers or barbers these days. I tend to just sort of clip my own hair, and to be honest, it's a complicated enough manoeuvre as it is doing it without holding a camera at the same time. So, yeah, probably won't be filming that. As for playing a musical instrument, I have absolutely no musical talent whatsoever, as the singing at the beginning of this video should abundantly prove. I did do a couple of music courses at school as it was a required subject in high school. I briefly tried to play the trumpet and I think the tuba, and both sounded like a goose farting in the fog. I failed the triangle. I was dreadful at the recorder, and my interpretation of A Clair de la Lune was borderline avant-garde. It was awful. I have no musical talent. I can't sing, can't play an instrument, and I'm a terrible embarrassment to my musical heritage, which I have absolutely none whatsoever. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, moving on. Stephen Powell, have you ever heard of pemmican? If so, can you make some? It is ground up beef jerky, dried fruit and hydrogenated fat that has been rendered for 12 hours and mixed together. Do not worry, pemmican will last for months, even years at room temperature. I have never heard of that, and it sounds absolutely vile, but I've never heard of it. I've never heard of that. Hydrogenated fat with fruit and beef jerky in it. I can't say that sounds terribly appealing to me, but I will look into it and see. Oh, Scrapyard Ape. Now that your excursion to the USA is finished, what did you think, or what did you like most, and what did you like the least about your trip, and did you get a chance to eat any other place other than Cheesecake Factory? Yes, I did. I actually did go to a couple of places. I went to, like I said, the Five Guys place. I had lunch there one day. And I went to a place called the Olive Garden, which was kind of awful, to be honest. I really didn't enjoy that very much. Yeah, and I sort of did a few sort of things at home as well, but I didn't go to Cheesecake exclusively, but I did go there quite regularly. What was the most, or what did you like the most and what did you like the least about the trip? The The least, or what I liked the least about the trip was probably the fact that it took so long to get back into reality when I got there, because like the jet lag and being tired and stuff really takes it out of you. It's a long flight. I didn't like the traffic and the impatience of LA drivers. My God, those people need to take a chill pill. Like, really. The way they were carrying on and honking at me and stuff, like, I don't think I'm that bad a driver, even though I was adapting to driving on the wrong side of the car, on the wrong side of the road. I think I was doing pretty well all in all, but yeah, people were getting quite frustrated. What I liked the most was probably the fact that people were surprisingly friendly. I don't know why, but I got the impression that people in LA would be quite sort of snooty and very sort of up themselves, where that was actually quite the opposite. People were very, very kind. They were very, very generous in spirit. They were very nice to people. Like, they obviously interpreted the fact that I wasn't a local, and they were very keen to help me if I had a question about stuff. So that was a very pleasant surprise. I guess just sort of, I liked the fact that it was just so different. Like, everything was so wildly different to Australia over there. And it sounds strange to say that, but there's quite a lot of sort of little differences in everyday life between LA and Australia, which I just found rather refreshing. Yeah. So, next question, Emily Trandest. Do you like Korean food? I don't think I've ever tried Korean food, to be honest. I don't think there's a Korean restaurant anywhere near me, so I don't think I've ever tried Korean food. And I've never been to Korea, so... I'll have to look one up and see if there's one nearby. Top 10 moves. Oh, we're coming towards the end. I can see the end of the questions. Top 10 moves. Dear David, do you like the song Come On Eileen by Dexy's Midnight Runners? I love that song. I do. I haven't heard that for years. Come on, Eileen, and you like Vaseline because you're such a slut. I don't know the words. I can't remember the words. I haven't heard that since the late 80s, so I don't know. Vaseline. Oh, God. I think I'm getting heat delirium. Oh, dear God, the last two questions. Look at who's posted them. Cooking with Karma. Have you ever used any cooking utensils while having sex? Bit of egg beater action, maybe. Oh, you should be so lucky, love. You should be so lucky. I certainly have tried a can of whipped cream, but that's another story. And, oh dear God, Rob J. Nixon. Last question. I have been taking zinc supplements lately and have noticed a 1 to 2 inch increase in the size of my man crank. Sorry, this wasn't a question, just a statement. Oh, the people I have to work with, these people. Well, your 1 to 2 inch increase in your man crank, my response is pics or it never happened. Alright guys, that is the end of coffee time. We've come to the end of the show and we're just under an hour, so if you've got a question for the next edition of Coffee Time, leave it in the comments section below this video here on YouTube and I shall answer it in 2 weeks' time. Until then, lots of love to you all. Mwah! Keep out of trouble and I'll talk to you later.